morning. It's a Monday morning. Happy Monday. I'm Maria Oliva from the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber of Commerce, and many of you know in Bourne that we're located at the railroad station in Buzzards Bay, right on Main Street, right by the Cape Cod Canal. So we love it there. And I'm here today to introduce a special guest today, State Representative Steven Xiarhos. And we love Steve. He does a great job. He's very involved. He reaches out to constituents everywhere. And welcome to the show today.
Amen. Thank you. I love it, and I love your energy too. And it's great to be here and talk about what we do.
Sure. Now, explain to us your district, exactly where you represent. And I know that's going to change,
yes.
So you can get into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and I'm proud to do it. It's 42,000 people, right, from all walks of life. There's a little section of Plymouth. Mm-hmm. There's about half of Bourne, like Sagamore Beach, and then another section near the base. Mm-hmm. All of Sandwich, and 2 precincts in Barnstable. So it's 4 towns and 2 different counties currently.
Right.
But with redistricting, if I'm able to be reelected, which I hope, starting in January, Plymouth has been given to the Plymouth delegation, and I get more of Bourne, which I love. I'll have all of Buzzards Bay, and more of Barnstable. So that's the future of the 5th Barnstable District, 42,000 people.
I didn't realize it was that much. That's a lot.
And I love it. And you know, I call it the Fighting 5th, the Fighting 5th Barnstable District, because I try to fight for our people and do good things for everybody.
You do. So let's start with, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you come. Well, I know who you are. Oh my God! And where you come from, and how long you've been in the area, and tell us about your family.
You got it.
Okay.
I'm just a kid from New Bedford. Back in the day, I grew up in a 3-decker, a tenement we called it. My Greek grandparents on the 1st floor. We were renting the 2nd floor, and someone else lived on the 3rd floor. Just to poor, really kind of humble people. My parents both worked, and my Greek grandmother kind of raised me and my 2 sisters. Yeah, I'm the middle of 3 children. I have 2 sisters, Carol and Patricia. Carol lives in Bourne. Patricia lives in Acushnet.
Nice. Oh, nice.
And I came to Cape Cod to be a police officer. And I lived in Sandwich in Lakewood Hills with my aunt and uncle. Thank God for them. They've both passed, but my Uncle Steve and Auntie Froso, they came to the Cape because he got a job at the plant, the power plant, when it was brand new, and I lived with them, went to Cape Cod Community College.
So did I.
All right. Yay. I'm the class of 78, and I loved it. Right away, I was like, wow, the Cape is beautiful. And I was lucky to be hired as a Yarmouth police officer at age 19.
Really?
Yes, I had full head of hair and I had a mustache. And I loved it, 40 years of being a police officer, from a summer cop to the deputy chief. And, I ended up getting 3 college degrees, Cape Cod Community College, Northeastern University, Anna Maria College. So I have a master's degree. And loved every minute, working with great people, serving and protecting. And when Sean Gannon, my police officer, was murdered and Nero was shot, that was a key point in my life. I decided that I needed to make a difference. And I ran for office to keep serving in a bigger way and to try to make us all safer. And that's why I love what we're doing. And right now I live in West Barnstable, and I have 4 children. I have twin daughters that are beautiful, Elizabeth and Ashlyn. They live in Portsmouth, New Hampshire now.
Oh, wow.
I have a son, Alex, who is a police officer.
Where's he, police officer?
In Yarmouth,
Oh, good. He followed in your footsteps.
He did.
Nice.
He was in Mashpee, and then he transferred. And the day I walked out of the building, after 40 years, they had him waiting at the door. And when I walked out, we hugged, and he went in. It was beautiful.
Wow, that's a memorable moment.
I'll never forget it. And then I have a son, Nicholas, who we lost in Afghanistan. He was my firstborn. He's their big brother, and you know, he never came home. He was killed in combat at age 21, and he rests in the National Cemetery in Bourne.
So you are a Gold Star family, and what is that? It means a support group, and you know other people who are Gold Star families?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what it is, but a Gold Star family is something, you know, no one wants to be, but it started in World War I. So in World War I in America, if you had someone serving, fighting for our freedom in World War I, you put a blue star flag in your window with a candle. And that told everybody that that family has a loved one in war. And that tradition carried on from those days to today. So we had a red flag with a blue star in the middle, and we had a candle at our home. And then when we lost Nick, you switch it to a gold star. So
wow, that's very interesting.
At our home, we have a gold star flag with a candle, and that tells everybody that they lost someone fighting for your freedom.
Right. I know it must be emotional for you. It's so important that people realize our veterans and what they do for us and the price of freedom. And the reason we're in the good old USA is because our soldiers help us. And they keep us safe.
Amen.
And they make sure that we can always be free in this country.
That's very well said. We are the greatest nation on earth because we have freedom, and freedom comes at a price, and my family paid the price, you know. So we try to live our lives dedicating to Nick in a way. His last words, he screamed into the phone. It was a horrible summer of Afghanistan in 2009, and he just screamed in the phone. He said, "Don't worry about me. I'm living the dream."
Wow.
And 3 weeks later, he came home to us in a flag-draped coffin. And that's tough on a family, but we've picked ourselves up and we've become stronger. We always loved our country. My dad is military. My grandfather, who I'm named after, military. My dad served at Otis Air Force Base, so we used to come through Buzzards Bay and go to the air shows, and I love it. And we'll always respect our military and those that serve, families serve. And this area is very patriotic. Many people that live in Bourne have some type of connection to the base.
Yes.
And I love it, and
great.
always will take care of veterans. In fact, I'm on the Veterans Affairs Committee for the entire state, which is perfect.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, tell me about your legislative committees, and then you can get into Nero's Law, the Nero Bill. And okay, so go ahead.
Awesome. I'm a rookie. I'm a rookie rep, right? You know, I did 40 years of policing, but never did this, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's all about serving, in my mind, and representing, but serving, service before self, like a police officer, but in a bigger scale, because it's the whole state. We have 8 million people living in Massachusetts. We're represented by 160 reps. I am your rep, and I love it. And I'm on 4 committees, so Veterans and Federal Affairs, Public Safety, which is perfect, and Homeland Security, Elder Services, State Administration, and then there was actually a 5th one, a commission that I was assigned to on police reform. So in the first year that we've done this, we did all those committees and hearings and listening to over 7,000 bills. 7,000 bills have been filed, and you have 2 years to give everybody a chance to, you know, say their piece, let's say, and then the committees decide what to do with the bills, and they go through this incredible process. Then it goes to Senate, right? We have 40 senators in Massachusetts, and then eventually, if it makes it through, it goes to the governor, and it's very difficult to get a bill into law, and I love the whole process, and I'm proud to say that a bill that I filed based on you know, Sean Gann and my officer being murdered, and our dog Nero being shot, and you know, me standing there when Nero was rescued out of that horrible home, and he was bleeding to death, and nobody would help him. because in Massachusetts, police and fire and EMTs are not allowed to help an animal. So I stood there and I saw him dying in front of me, but the federal agents that were there, the ATF agents, they helped stop the bleeding because they're trained to do that. And then we put Nero in a police car, and a doctor and a police officer jumped in the back seat. They kept his airway open, and they drove in a police car. And he ended up in Bourne at the beautiful veterinary hospital underneath the bridge, and he lived. Nero lived, and I retired and filed this bill that was written originally by Rep. Crocker. It didn't make it, and then I took the ball and ran with it, and we got it done. And
you got it done.
We got it done,
Look
and
at
here,
this.
here's our Nero pup.
Yeah.
That's who he is. We've sold these all over the world.
Oh,
And
wow,
it has
really, to raise money?
The world, yeah. It has Sean's picture and story.
Wow.
Yeah, we built right now it's about $700,000 training facility at Yarmouth Police Headquarters. It's built all on donations from selling Nero and T-shirts.
Wow, that's
and
incredible.
It's incredible, and the police officers and their dogs go in the building, they train. There's nothing like it in the whole state. It's named after Sean, and just a few weeks ago, that's where Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito came, and on April 12th, 4 years to the day of Sean's murder, we signed the bill into law in Sean's building in front of Sean's mother and father and wife and Nero.
Just so emotional.
It's
but,
very emotional.
The thing is that you pursued it, something you believed in, and you really worked on it very hard, and so we congratulate you for that. It was a great job.
Thank you.
You did it with other people, I understand,
It's
but
a whole-
you spearheaded it.
Yeah, well,
You did.
It was personal, and,
Yes.
And it's the right thing, and it's really special to see it become a law with everybody's help, like you said.
Right.
And it's the right thing because our dogs that serve us, if they're injured in the line of duty, they deserve to be protected and cared for.
Exactly.
And now in Massachusetts, they are, and it's the model for the whole nation.
I'll have to buy one.
Yep, that's a deal. We're sold out. There's
Oh,
none
okay.
left, but
Oh,
there's
wow.
500 more coming.
Oh, okay. Well, put me down for one of them,
You
okay?
got it.
So, you want to talk about some legislative issues?
Yes.
All right, so let's bring up the replacement of the Bourne and Sandwich bridges. The chamber, the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber, and the Cape Cod Chamber developed about 3 or 4 years ago a coalition of about 25 people throughout the Cape, made up of chambers, state legislative delegation, federal delegation, Cape Cod Commission, and everyone that were involved with the bridges. We just had to do something because of the situation with the traffic congestion, the repairs that they do on the bridges year after year after year, causing severe traffic delays. So we went forward together and really developed a strong support, and here we are now. So now, I know you went to a meeting with Senator Markey,
Yes.
and he explained exactly what was going on with the funding. And why don't you explain a little bit about that?
Absolutely. That is the project of a lifetime, right? These bridges are nearly 100 years old. They're very narrow, and they're coming to the end of their lifetime. They were designed in the 20s, right?
I know it.
So we need to get new bridges. That's already been decided. But of course, they cost over $1 billion.
Right.
And my job is to be part of that commission that you talked about, and I love it. I've been to so many meetings with the Bourne selectmen,
Yes.
with people that all have a take in this, because especially for Bourne, you might go over that bridge 10 times a day.
Right.
Both bridges are in Bourne. So we need to get the funding secured from the federal government. And you're right, I go to meetings in Boston with Senator Markey, Congressman Keating, who lives in Bourne.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
bridges are so important. It is a project of a lifetime. We need to get the money, and we push hard. The Fighting Fifth Barnstable District fights to make sure we get the money. Once we get it secured, then everything will fall into place. You know, the plans will be developed. There'll have to be land takings, and it's really complicated. But it has to be done because, like you said, the traffic and everything else, the bridges just are they've come to the end of their life.
Right,
And
right.
not only is the traffic tied up when they're repairing them, but we're spending millions of dollars every year just to keep up with safety, which you have to.
Right.
But eventually, if we could have 2 new ones, properly done, wider, with a bike path and all these ideas, we'll take down the old ones and you know, be forever proud that we did that.
Right, that's good. I know Representative Keating and I have communicated with respect to some residents or businesses that might be concerned about where they're located. And we're
Yes.
not even there yet. And there hasn't even been a design yet because the funding hasn't been approved. And most people don't realize that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers at the federal level has to approve this funding. So nothing is moving forward right now. And I know people think that the Bourne Rotary that Mass Dot is doing, it's on the approach to the bridges. So if they approve the bridges, this will tie into the Bourne Bridge.
It
on
all
that
will,
side.
yeah. Mass DOT has been great.
Yes.
I was just in Boston at the JFK building, which is a beautiful building. And in that room was, you know, really everyone from every part of this project.
Yeah.
You know, the Senator Markey, Congressman Keating, all the Bourne selectmen, Sandwich selectmen, DOT. So everybody's ready.
Right.
It's very competitive on the federal level. Every state in the nation has
There you
their
go.
project
Right.
that they're fighting for.
Right.
But Congressman Keating and Senator Markey are good at this. And soon we should hear that we've obtained the money and everything will kick in. Everybody's
Right.
ready. That's the key.
Right, we're ready to roll.
Yeah, and
Right.
the feds need to hear that. These people that select the different projects in states, they know that Massachusetts is ready.
Right.
So give us the money and we'll get
Right,
going.
and there's unanimity with respect to the type of project that's going on and the support, and the
And that's
support is
important.
throughout every
And the
project.
communication.
Yes,
like
communication.
let people know what's going on.
Yeah.
And everybody should know that we're right in the middle of all of it.
All right. So let's talk about something non-controversial like the machine gun range. I know I think it's with the federal EPA, the EPA at the federal level right now that's doing a study on this. But this it's an emotional subject, and it's concerning because of the environment and the past Superfund sites at the Joint Base Cape Cod. So the Army National Guard is moving forward, and I know you were concerned about some of the issues facing that.
Oh,
so-
yes. Yeah, that's a great topic to talk about. Again, communication.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a big supporter of our military. They need to be well trained when they fight for us, and I know the dangers involved. But it has to be done right. So
Yeah.
I've actually been in a Black Hawk helicopter,
Wow.
and they took us up and flew over the whole base.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's pretty
Good.
cool when you
Yeah.
look down and see what they're talking about. You look down and you see
Yeah.
both bridges, like we're way up there. And it's really amazing. And I've also put my boots on the ground. I've walked that whole area. So there already is a range there. They just want to make it bigger. But they have to do it right. Because the concerns of the neighbors are noise, traffic that may increase, and pollution. We cannot allow pollution of our environment, especially the drinking water, which they did do years ago. So all those concerns are being addressed, and I'm right in the middle of all of that with all of our Cape legislators, especially Senator Moran, Rep Vieira. So we're all kind of a piece of it.
Right.
And we want to make sure if they're going to do it, they're going to do it right. And right now we're waiting for another study from the federal government that will address the concern. So it's still a little
Exactly.
early, but
Yeah.
once that's done, we'll see where we're at. And I think it's important to listen to everybody. You have people that want the range because
Yeah.
it supports our troops. It's a base. And then you have others that say, boy, I'm concerned about the noise and the environment.
Right.
So we need to investigate it and make sure we basically cover all the bases.
Sure, sure. All right, I got my little notes here.
All right.
Just in case. I know you voted for the climate change bill.
Yes.
We had a discussion about that.
Yes.
And what we're hearing from some business people in the Canal Region area is they're concerned about electrified heat pumps
Yes.
instead of tying into fossil fuels. And the question is, how much extra would that cost to have electrified heat pumps to heat my home? It'll be all electricity, and electricity is the highest in, is it the country or the?
Yeah, it's up there, yeah.
And, you know, there is some concerns, and I think we all need changes in how we do business. There's just no question about it, because we're polluting the airways, we're polluting everything. So we've got to make some changes there. So that's a concern, and I know I raised that to you. So.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, that's a whole other world, and that's what I love to do, is learn and listen. And these bills are complicated.
I can't imagine.
Oh my! And they might start out as one thing,
right,
and then they get changed. So before you vote on something, you really got to read every word. That was a big vote, and of course, it's just a vote right now. It's not done.
Yeah,
it goes to the Senate, and then all those other things.
Right,
But
and then it goes to what they call a conference committee.
if there's a difference, like the Nero bill, there were two different versions, and then the conference committee made it one, and you try to like resolve everybody's concerns.
Right.
It's pretty cool, because you're making a law, not just a good idea, it's a law.
Right.
So I've lived that world, and here's another one. Energy is so important. It's pretty cool too for our district. You know, we have to take care of our businesses and their concerns. Small business really runs America. And also what makes us a little different, we have Mass Maritime Academy.
I know, it's
that's
wonderful.
it's a world-class institution that's going to be right in the middle of all of this new type of energy, right? And then where I live in Barnstable, we're actually, you know, they're building the wind energy out in the ocean, and they're running it under the ocean.
I know, it's amazing.
Yes, right through Barnstable.
Yeah.
It's actually happened. It's the first project in the nation. So the 5th Barnstable district, me, right in the middle of all these things, and I take everybody's concerns into my heart, and use my best judgment, always keeping in mind that our businesses are so critical to us, especially after COVID, or still in the middle of
Right.
COVID.
Oh, yes.
So every time we make a vote, I try to take that all
Right,
into
you do.
into
And, you know, I
mind.
know you, and I know that you do what's best for the whole, what's best for the district, but what's best for the state, and everything. I think that you work hard to hear everybody's concern, but then you have to make a final decision.
Yes.
And, you know, sometimes that's hard, but hopefully people will understand where you're coming from, why. As long as you explain it and engage them, I think most people will understand.
They do. And, you know, the biggest part of this job is serving others. Like every day I'm helping somebody, my office. I have one aide, Stuart Daniels, and, you know, it could be someone's homeless, and now you get them a house. So there's a lot of things that go on. And then part of the job is obviously making laws and like budget.
Right.
Last week I was in Boston all day, all night, working on a $49 billion budget, and talk about all those issues.
Must be a little overwhelming.
I find it exciting.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it is huge, but if you just stick to who you are, like be transparent, take it to heart. This is a very special job that I'm grateful to be elected to do, right, by 42,000 different people. And it's hard work, but I love it. And if you stay true to yourself, honest, transparent, and I try to make my decisions with my heart in my head to help everybody.
That's great. So that's the State House. Now let's talk about your district. You do a lot in your district, and people don't realize how much you do for constituents. You are everywhere. I see you throughout your district attending a lot, not just fundraisers for nonprofits, but you do a lot for the community. And I wanted to bring one issue up that you did, which was fantastic, with Joey Santoni, the island in South Sagamore that had been neglected for a while. He's a veteran that passed away in the Vietnam War, and our family grew up with him. And my family home is about literally just a few steps from the island.
Wow.
So, and you helped with the Bourne DPW. Explain a little bit about
Well,
that.
I didn't know you knew about that.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do a lot for the community.
We do, and that's it's our job, but it's also in my heart. Like I
Yes.
love it. I love Bourne, Plymouth, Barnstable, Sandwich. Everybody has needs, you know,
Right.
and they can come to us, and we'll get it done one way or the other. That is a great project to talk about, really, because here's a young man. He died fighting for our country at a young age, a son of Sagamore. Kind of, it reminds me of Nick, you know, a son of Cape Cod. And imagine years later, there's this island in his memory, and there's no water to help, you know, water the plants and the grass. That's something we can get done. So there's billion-dollar projects, there's bridges, all those big things. But you know what? Taking care of a fallen son, a Gold Star family, is what we're going to do. And that's a team effort. That's the selectmen, that's DPW.
But again, you initiated
Well,
it.
we did, because it's the right thing. And our hope and our plan is on Memorial Day. I'm the guest speaker for the town of Bourne, which will be on Memorial Day at 9 o'clock at the town hall. But before that, we're going to dedicate the new island with all the water on Memorial Day.
That's great. That's great. So I know you do so much in your district. Tell me about it's a Big Nick's, right? The ride. Tell me, explain what that is so people know.
Yes.
And what you do every year for that.
Yeah. When we lost Nicholas, you know, these Marines came to me and they said, Steve, we want to do a ride in Nick's memory, motorcycle ride. And I said, oh my, I never rode a motorcycle in my life.
Really?
You know, never.
Oh, wow.
But there was a moment during the funeral when I was in the family car with my wife and 3 children, and it was very, you know, sad and broken. We were a broken family, really. And as we were being escorted from Yarmouth to the National Cemetery, we heard the sound of motorcycles. I don't remember seeing them, but we were being escorted. You have flash, you know, images of seeing this and seeing that. But my wife and kids were with us. Nick was in the hearse in front of us. And the motorcycles kept going by, and I heard the sound. And I looked at Lisa, and I said, do you hear that? And she said, yes. And I said, we're not alone. It just made us feel that we weren't alone. So that motorcycle sound and my friends saying we're going to do a ride is how it started. They taught me how to ride. We started, I was the last bike out of 300, like 13 years, shaking like a leaf, you know. I never rode, but I learned, and now we're riding, and here we are 13 years later.
That's amazing.
And it's 1,200 motorcycles, and I'm in the front. And we start at the Sheriff's Department in Bourne. We go by the National Cemetery, and everybody in Bourne, thank you, because we make a mess of the traffic for a little while.
We can put up with that.
Yes,
it's worthwhile.
It's for Nick and all the fallen. You know, there's 16 that have died from Cape Cod in this war, which just ended, thank God. Iraq, Afghanistan, and we go all the way along the canal and all the way down 6A through Sandwich and Barnstable, and we end in Yarmouth, where Nick was born and raised. And we raise money, and every penny is given away. We have a nonprofit, the Nicholas G. Xiarhos Memorial Foundation. No one gets paid. It's just a nonprofit. It's all
volunteer.
It's all volunteer. It's managed by the Cape Cod Foundation. So they manage it. So every penny comes in, goes to them. They do what they do with the taxes and everything, managing it. And every February 12th, which is Nick's birthday, we give the money away. So
Wow.
last year, or this year, he would have been 34. So on February 12th, we gave out $34,000. Next year, we'll give out $35,000.
Wow.
And we try to spread it all across the Cape to help people.
And how do you raise your money for that?
Well, it's $20 to ride the motorcycle.
Okay.
And then we sell T-shirts and
And
hoodies.
things.
And
Okay.
like yesterday was the blessing of the bikes, right? And it was really cool for me because
That was down Cape.
that was in
I
West
saw that on
Dennis.
Facebook.
Yeah, I did a video to
You
show
do-
everybody.
You do videos all the time,
I
but it's
try.
good because it's very tells us what you're doing, and you're so happy when you do these
Well,
videos.
yeah,
you know?
thank
You
you.
always
I think it's important to
positive.
be positive, like
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And not every day is easy, but you be positive and you show the good. There's more good than bad, right? Sometimes the news is
Absolutely.
all bad and that the country is divided. I don't think
Yeah.
we are. I
Yeah.
think most people are proud to be Americans, and I try to show that every day. So yeah, the blessing of the bikes, right? Over 1,000 motorcycles,
That
and
was-
actually
that was really cool,
a
too.
priest goes up and down and
Saw
blesses.
that.
It's pretty cool.
You had a live video. So
Yeah,
that was nice.
and money from that goes to help others, and helping others is really who I am.
Yes.
And I think being a state representative is where I should be right now, to keep helping others locally
Right.
or on a bigger scale.
Right.
It's all important.
It's all important. Well, we at the Chamber work primarily with the business community, but we also do a lot of community events. We do free concerts, scholarships, because you can't. Business and residents need to work together for everyone. And I know during COVID there were so many issues with the business community, and we got through that. But where we're coming from is that we're always mindful of different legislation that might come up to, that might be detrimental to the business community. So,
That's right.
I might be in touch with you about that and other things, because there's so many different types of legislation. You have to be on top of everything, right?
It's really amazing.
How do you stay on top of everything?
Well, there's 7,000 bills. So I always
So
tell
everybody's filing bills.
Yes,
2, 3,
in the
4, 5.
beginning, in the
Okay.
beginning of your 2-year term, right? I took
Oh,
office
oh, I
January
see.
6th. You have
Okay.
a couple of months to create these bills. I filed 21 bills, right?
Okay.
And everybody's doing that. So it ends
Right.
up with like 7,000. And then over 2 years, which we're in our second year, they have hearings, and most of them don't make it. And what happens, people don't know, is if it doesn't make it, it's done. And now the next term, it doesn't go into the next term unless it gets refiled. So sometimes it takes 10 years to get a bill filed and get done, but that's why Nero's bill, we got it done in 10 months.
I know, that's
It's really
incredible.
special.
Yeah.
But everybody should be aware of whatever bill they're concerned about and come to me, especially if it involves our district.
Yes.
And keep their reps informed. Everybody has a state rep, everybody has a senator. And send them emails, make a phone call, let your elected official know how you feel. And if they don't really know that particular bill, just give us the number. We'll read it over.
Exactly.
But keep on top of it. It's government. That's how it works.
Right.
We get elected to represent you. We do our best, and we need to hear from you. And I love doing it. And like you said, sometimes we don't always agree, but it's important to listen, learn, and communicate what's
Right.
going on.
Right.
It's a very busy state, and especially Cape Cod, especially in the summer. And we have to keep it that way. Keep Cape Cod thriving, keep it safe. We just hopefully are done with a worldwide pandemic that no one's ever done before. And you've helped get us through that. I remember walking up and down Buzzards Bay with you. And,
You came in.
Yeah, talking to the
Yes.
business owners, knowing
Yeah,
that.
that was great.
Well,
They
they need to know
appreciated
that
it,
we're
too.
there for them. Yes.
Yeah. It's difficult. The pandemic is winding down now, but there's still some difficulty with some businesses in the area, and we're trying to help them. And during the pandemic, the Chamber worked with the state and federal agencies regarding PPP loans
Yes.
that different businesses could get,
Yes.
and EIDL loans and PPP. Actually, they were outright grants, but that really made a difference with the the business in residence, because jobs are important to
Oh
the
my
community.
God.
Labor
Yes.
labor shortages now. What we
Yes.
hear from our businesses now is they can't find help, which is a nationwide problem.
Yes.
And then they have to cut back their services or product and can't perform those anymore because they don't have enough help, and that doesn't really help the business. So if you're too busy sometimes to handle it, that's always a problem as well.
It really is, and we hear that all the time.
You bet.
Jobs, there's so many jobs, but not enough people. Part of
Right.
it is, if people don't realize, part of it is the baby boomer generation like me they call it aging out. So that's part of it, that a lot of people have aged out, or they left early because of COVID. So that's one issue. And then immigration is another issue. The Cape in the summer relies on a lot of legal immigrants to
Right.
help. There's a
Yeah.
lot to it.
Yeah.
It's not that people are lazy and they're not working. Sometimes there's just not enough workers. And that's a huge issue, and it also goes with housing.
Right. Oh,
right?
housing. Speak to that issue.
Yes,
That's a real
yes,
serious problem.
it really is, right? And it's not just for low income. It's really everyone is. It's hard to afford a home. You can be a police officer, or a teacher, or a firefighter, making
Exactly.
good money, but you
Right.
can't afford to buy a home.
It's so, especially now. I mean,
Yes.
the prices are outrageous.
Yes.
There isn't a lot of workforce housing for people to live in, and they can't find a place to live, and they can't afford to buy a
Yes.
house.
And we have to make sure
So-
we fix that, because Cape Cod relies on that. We
Right.
have people that live in New Bedford and off Cape, and they hop in a van every day and they go back and forth, and they work and then they go home.
Yeah.
How about Nantucket, right?
Oh, my goodness.
The median price of a home in Nantucket is $3.3 million.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah,
can
that's
anyone, regular person,
Yeah.
afford that? And where is the workforce coming from?
Right.
So we're in the middle of that too, housing, jobs, retraining people. Also, addiction is a huge issue.
Yes.
Addiction, mental health. We're in the middle of all of that, and I feel it because I've seen it as a police officer. I've seen homeless living in the woods. I've seen people die from addiction. I've seen people struggle with mental health. So I try to take my real life experience and put it into this job to make better and good decisions that actually make a difference.
That's wonderful. So you do so much for the constituents. You do. You're always in your district, and you're helping people, and they could call you for anything, Social Security, state benefits, or it could be to fix a wonderful veteran their landscaping in their
Yes,
island. You do
yeah.
a lot of that. A lot of people don't realize
Yes.
that you spend a majority of your time in the area where you represent, and
Yes.
you do so much there, and you got to be at the State House.
Yes.
It's a tough.
It
tough
is, but I
situation
love
back and
it.
forth.
It's exciting. I love it. But I am what you would call a district style rep. Some reps are in Boston, and they're in their office and they do their good work there.
Yeah.
Some would rather be in their district doing good work where my people
Right,
are,
right.
and then go to Boston when you're needed. So I'm kind of in the middle of both. I have a beautiful office in the People's House. I call it the People's House.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to come. It's been closed my first
I know.
14 months of my career, closed and not allowed in the building, kind of weird. But we got through it. And now I do have a little cubicle in the State House, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I want everybody in Bourne and Sandwich to come and see the People's House. In fact, Sandwich 8th grade, I went and talked to their class, civics. It's so important to talk about civics and patriotism.
Yes.
I do that as part of being a rep.
History.
History, American history, and the good and the bad. It
Right.
all started here, don't forget, in Massachusetts, where American freedom was born. And in the State House is all the history. So the 8th grade class of Sandwich, 224 kids and 20 chaperones are coming to the State House to get a tour.
Oh, that's so.
It's
that's
beautiful,
wonderful.
and that's in June. So anyone that's interested, the tours are free. Come on, and I'd love to show you around. And then they have tour guides, and everybody should know what the People's House looks like, outside and inside, and see the people that are working for you and all the history, the proud history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's amazing.
You know, it's funny going back into my earlier days. Many, many years ago, I worked as a legislative aide to former state rep Jeremiah Kerr.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he actually passed away unexpectedly. So I was there managing the office for in the constituent district for a while. And then I ran for selectman in Bourne, which is now called the Select Board.
Yes.
But that was one of the highlights of my life, to get elected there and serve my town. So
I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about. It really is exciting.
Yes, it is.
And,
Yes.
and you've lived that world, and not everybody could do it or want to do it.
Right.
And they do what they do. You know, they're plumbers, they're police officers, they're
Right.
landscapers. Everybody has their mission.
Yeah.
And they should be able to come to their elected official and have their voices heard and learn how the process works. And I love to teach it, and I love to show it. You know, again, I'm proud to be an American, but also to be born in Massachusetts.
Right.
We are where American freedom was born, right, in Boston. And I sit at the desk, at these little wooden desks, where, you know, Sam Adams spoke and
This
talked.
is in the galley, right?
It's
where
an
you-
amazing
yeah.
in the room of House of Representatives. It's really amazing to see it. In fact, they told me the other day that at this little wooden desk, which, you know, they're hundreds of years old, there's a little metal circle plate, and they said, "Do you know what that's for?" I said, "No." And they said, "Well, that was where when you smoked, you would put your ashes." So that term "smoke-filled room"
Oh, yes.
was
That how it
real.
came? Oh, my God,
Yes,
that's
imagine
funny.
160 or 200, whatever it was, smoking in a room, and so that's still there. And then they said
wow.
if you take that metal circle off, what's below it is an inkwell, because that's where they used to dip to sign the documents.
That's so interesting.
It is.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
2022, and we're still using the same desk. So that's
Love it.
being resourceful.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and you do a great job. I respect you. I think that you really are dedicated, and you're full of integrity.
Yes.
And we really appreciate your service very much.
Amen. Right back at
So,
you and everybody
okay.
out there. It's how I'm made.
Okay, great. That's great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Hey, you
Mary.
have a wonderful day.
We will.
Okay, thank you.